Today we are working on a photosynthesis model that is a light-dependent reaction that takes place inside a thylakoid space which consists of chloroplast. Inside this thylakoid space you have a photosystem 1 and a photosystem 2. Outside of the thylakoid space you have two hydrogen protons that are just chilling in the air. We have our light, which will send off energy to photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. When the light sends off its energy, the two hydrogen protons move inside the thylakoid space through a process called proton translocation. The light also sends off energy to photosystem 2 and photosystem 1, which then sends an electron through its electron transport chain through different parts in the thylakoid space. Photosystem 2 will send an electron to photosystem 1. Photosystem 1 will send an electron to the air through its electron transport chain. And then you will have water split, which will send two hydrogen protons into the thylakoid space while leaving one oxygen behind. It also sends an electron to photosystem 2 to replenish the electrons lost from the light. And now inside the thylakoid space, as we've shown, there are four hydrogen protons together while we have an electron that have been replenished in each of the photosystems. We then, through photosystem 1, we have an electron that forms with a hydrogen proton to create NADP. After the electron forms with the hydrogen proton, we have and forms NADP. We then create NADPH. The four hydrogens that were inside the thylakoid space then move through the ATP synthase to form ADP, which then adds a proton. To create ATP. The ATP is then sent up to where it combines with NADPH to form the Calvin-style reactions, which we will talk about next. Today we are looking at the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle takes place inside the stroma of chloroplast, which is where we saw also the light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis take place. With Calvin cycle, there are three steps. The first step we have is carbon dioxide fixation, and this is the first step of the Calvin cycle. During this first step, the reaction, carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere and attached to an RUBP. An RUBP is a 5-carbon molecule, and the result is a 6-carbon molecule that splits into two 3-carbon molecules afterwards, as shown through our picture. The second step of the Calvin cycle is the reduction of carbon dioxide. The reduction of carbon dioxide takes NADPH and some ATP for its energy, and those supply the needed electrons that supply energy for the carbon dioxide reduction. Electrons are taken from NADPH, and through a series of reactions, carbon dioxide is reduced to form a G3P, as you can see through our model. The last step of the Calvin cycle is a regeneration of the first substrate, which we saw, which was RUBP, or ribulose biphosphate. And the way this cycle works is the reactions are use a cycle, which means that some of the product returns to the start. So So as the Calvin cycle turns 3 times, 5 molecules of G3P are used to reform the molecules of RUBP, which are needed to begin the next cycle of the reaction. It's kind of a cycle from there. Through this process, ATP produced by light reactions are also used, as you can see through our model. So this is a very complex issue, but we summarize it very simply through our drawing.